Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Too Good to Be True podcast. I am your host, Pascal Mayala. It's been like a 3 or 4 days that I didn't do full a full podcast, and the last time I did it, we talked about the uh Dennis Schroeder and the Kevin Durant beef over the differences between the European basketball and the American basketball, but also that that a couple of weeks ago we talked about the Olympics. So if you haven't listened to it, you can listen to this on my YouTube channel. That'll give you a little bit of detail about my YouTube channel and where you're gonna listen and where you can listen it. But now we're gonna do something special. The NFL is around us, and we will do some research. We're gonna go to Bleacher Report. We will talk about the prediction, every division, and what do I expect more, and what do I think who's gonna make my final prediction on who's gonna go to the Super Bowl. So let's get started. But before we get started, on my head, I want you guys to follow this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Castbox, if you want to listen. If you want to see me visually, you can go to my YouTube channel, Too Good to Be True Podcast. Uh, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and leave your comment because your comment means a lot to me, and that we can grow this podcast together. Now let's get started. Now we're gonna talk about the team and where uh do I think who's gonna win the division round, who's gonna win the division, who's gonna win the AFC champion, the NFC champion, something like that. But let's go to the uh to the standing. I know I didn't just for the record, I did not watch any preseason, so the result you will see is ESPN preseason, but we will make our own prediction. Where do I see this team going, and so on and so forth. Now let's get started. So I'm gonna share my video right now. If people who are gonna listen to this podcast doesn't see uh the the visual, you can still look at it on my YouTube channel, Too Good to Be True podcast. So I'm gonna share it right now. I'm gonna share it right now, and here we go. Hold on, hold on. I gotta share it. So here we go right now. So we gonna we're gonna do the A, A, AFC, and and maybe tomorrow I will do the NFC. So let's go do the AFC right now. So the AFC East, we got the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and New York Jets. Okay. Okay, let's start with the Buffalo Bills. So last season it was a disappointed. So last season they were disappointed. Um I'm gonna look at it we're gonna look at the draft, who did they draft right now, and I don't know if we can find who they lost, but I know that they lost one key player, so let's go uh what did who they drafted. So they drafted a wide receiver, Keon Coleman from Florida State, Cole Bishop, a safety from Utah, Dwayne Carter, a defensive tackle from Duke, Ray Davis, running back from Kentucky, Cedric Van Prank Granger, center from Georgia, Edufian Ulofoslo, linebacker from Washington, Javon Solomon, edge from Troy, Tylen Grable, offensive tackle from UCF, D, Daquan Hardy, cornerback from uh, Penn State, and Travis Clayton, offensive guard. So I don't know if I can go a little bit. No, 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 okay. No, the biggest loss that the Bills had lost. They lost a ton of people, but especially they lost um um Stephon Diggs. Now he's playing for the Houston, Texas. So now it will depend on Josh Allen. That he is pretty much like we all say he's overrated, which everybody knows that. I saw a vote that they're overrated. And let's look at their roster. I wish we could see who they had, who they didn't had, who um who they have signed, who they have signed, who they did not sign. But 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 to me, the Buffalo Bill, I think they have regressed a little bit because they don't have um that true number one wide receiver, a true wide receiver. I mean, other than the Mark Collin, Kurt Samuel, uh, and what is it, Khalil Shakir, and Marcus Valdez Scantling. They don't have really a true number one wide receiver. And that's going to be pretty much my issue. And I know a lot of people have other things to say about the Bills, but my opinion is the wide receiver situation because they don't really truly have a number one option on the um on the uh on the team what. So everything has to come from Josh Allen. But I will not. But in the AFC East, the Dolphins gonna probably they're gonna make the playoff. I guarantee you that they're gonna make the playoff. They're gonna make the playoff like that. So my prediction for them, I think they're probably gonna go like what? What is an 18 season? I will go I'll go 12-6. That's my opinion. So 12-6 for the Buffalo Bills. Right now, because I think what I said 12-6, I think because they regress on the offensive side in the wide receiver. So that's how my opinion is like that. So, you know, you know, it's 12-6 for me for personally, but maybe I will be wrong. So prove me wrong, like I said. Now, Next, the Miami Dolphin. The Miami Dolphin, who did they have drafted? Uh, uh, Chubb Robinson, edge rusher for Penn State. Patrick Paul, offensive tackle from Houston. Jaden Wright, running back, Tennessee. Mohamed Kamara, edge, Colorado State. Malik Washington, wide receiver, Virginia. Uh, Patrick McNorris, California. Itash Washington, wide receiver, USC. So, what do I think about the Miami? I think every player has already been back. You know, they already been back. They already been back. Tyreek Hill got a huge contract deal, so I'm not really surprised. So I got nothing to say about the Dolphins. Other than Tua need to develop, Tua needs to prove yourself if you're I want to be the elite quarterback in the NFL, like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, so on and so forth. I can name everybody. So to me, I think they could go 11-5. My prediction 11-5 because I'm not counting out uh the Dolphins, but they need to do better in the cold weather. Cold weather is the only thing that can show that can handle that can handle their weakness. Cold weather and Tua performing. Next team, the New England Patriot. So New England Patriot, they have drafted their quarterback Drake May from North Carolina, Jaleel Polk, wide receiver Washington, Hayden Wallace, offensive tackle Penn State, Layden Robinson, offensive guard Texas A&M, Javon Barker, wide receiver UFC, Marcellus Dow, cornerback South Carolina, uh, Joe Milton the third QB Tennessee, and Jaheim Bell tight end for the Florida State. Uh, no playoff, no playoff for them. They are in a full rebuild with a new head coach, with a new head coach, new QB, new system. This is the end of the Bill Belichick era. So the New England Patriots need a do-over, a rebuild. So to me, they'll have a terrible season. I will go between 5-11 and 5-13. But I think it's 5-13. So I'm gonna say for the Patriots, uh, 5-13 to me. Next, the New York Jets. So the New York Jets, they drafted Olu Fashanu for the OT from Penn State, Malachi Corley, wide receiver in Western Kentucky, Braylon Allen, running back Wisconsin, Jordan Davis, Jordan Davis, Jordan Travis, QB Florida State, Isaiah Davis, running back from South Dakota, Quantez Stringer CB undrafted. I believe they forgot to put the name of the college they went, and Jordan Key safety from Alabama. So what do I think about that? My question for them, and if you're a Jet fan, I want you guys to listen to this, and I want you guys to listen to this. How healthy that uh, Aaron Rodgers will be. Aaron Rodgers have to be healthy because last year he didn't play, but he wasn't fully healthy. He just got injured in just only 4 plays in the game. because this is a win right now. And I forgot to say the same thing with the Bills. It's a win right now for them, but especially uh for the Jets. Because if they do not make that playoff, yeah, I don't care what people say, it will be a failure. This trade is going to be much worse than Russell Wilson when he played for the Broncos. So that's how I'm gonna say about that for the uh, um, New York Jets. Yeah, I know they got the great Gary Wilson wide receiver. They I'm not gonna do the roster thing because it's very long, but but I will say with this: they have this Brees Hall. Brees Hall is he's a stud. Who's a stud also? Gary Wilson, I think it was Gary Wilson. He's no slouch. He is he's a baller. Defense. Uh, in the defensive side, the what is his name? South Garner. They're gonna be ready. They're gonna be ready. They're gonna be South Garner will be ready. Who Quinn Williams will be ready. CJ Mosley gonna be ready. I mean, everybody gonna be ready. So that's what I'm gonna say about the Jets. The Jets is a must win right now. It's a must win right now. We're gonna take a little break, a little bit break. Then I will talk about the AFC North. So just give me a little bit break. Then we'll come back. Welcome back to the Too Good to Be True podcast. Um, Now let's a little bit talk about A the AFC North right now. The AFC North. So let's talk about it right now. So we got the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals. Let's look at who they drafted. They drafted Amari Mims, offensive OT from Georgia, Chris Jenkins, DT from Michigan, Jermaine Burton, wide receiver at Alabama, McKinley Jackson, DT from Texas A&M, Eric All, tight end from Iowa, Josh Noonan, a cornerback from TCU, drafted from TCU, Tanner McLaughlin, a tight end in Arizona, Cedric Johnson, edge Ollie Smith, Dejon Anthony, safety Ollie Smith, Matt Lee, center in Miami. So what am I thought about uh the Cincinnati Bengals? Yes, last year it was disappointed. Yeah, Joe Burrow got injured. Um, Joe Burrow got injured. I'll tell you what. It was very hard for Joe Burrow to come on the field, but this time, they uh they got him back. Jamar Chase got paid, and now the the AFC is gonna be no, it's gonna be crazy. So Joe Burrow is healthy. If Joe Burrow is healthy, I think they can go to the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, and also I didn't do the Jet thing. What do I predict? I think the Jet can go 14. No, like an 18 season, right? So 14-4. 14-4. That's my prediction for the Jets. Now for the Bengals, I can see them 13-5. 13-5. Because if you really look at their schedule, and I didn't do that with other teams, if you look at their schedule, they have easier schedule. The Bengals got an easier schedule, so I think they could go uh, like I said, I think 14-4 or 13-5. So I think 13-5 is better. They'll be qualified to the playoff. Now, another team, the Cleveland Browns, who last year they made it to I believe the divisional. No, the wild card. So who did they draft it? So sorry. So they drafted Michael Hall Jr., DT Ohio State, Zach Zinter, OG, Michigan, Jamari Trash. Well, what kind of name? Well, first of all, before I continue, what the hell? What kind of name is that? Trash. Oh, that's a bad name. That's a bad, bad, bad name. So I just want to clear that up. So Jamari Trash, wide receiver at Louisville, Nathaniel Washington and Watson, sorry, linebacker Mississippi State, Mount Harden, quarterback from South Dakota, and Juwan Britt, DT from Cincinnati. What do I expect for the uh, what do I expect uh for the Browns? I think they're gonna make the playoff. I think those the Browns will make the playoff. But because of their defense, their offense, I got questioned because if when I say if Deshaun Watson plays like the Houston Texan Deshaun Watson, I think he could have a comeback player of the year. Regardless what people think about the situation, I think that Deshaun Watson um could win comeback of the year. So, but also their defense are legit. Their defense are super legit. Miles Garrett, Miles Garrett. Let's see the roster. Let's see the defense. Their defense will be fantastic. I don't care what people say. Their defense will be super fantastic. Miles Garrett, Ugbo Okorokwo, Zadarius Smith, if he's healthy. If he's healthy, I mean, Denzel Ward. I mean, that the Browns team, I think they they find their identity, and that was what's lacking with the Browns for many years. Identity, defense. The Browns are a defensive team, so I think the Browns will go to the playoffs. So I'll give them 11-3. Actually, 11-5 because it's an 18 week, or 11-7. I would say that. So 11-7 for the Browns. Now, next team, the Baltimore. Actually, I didn't do the Baltimore Raven, but we could go up to the Baltimore Raven. So so the Baltimore Ravens, you know who they drafted, and Nate Wiggins, cornerback Clemson, Rosengarten, OT from Washington, Adisa Isaac, linebacker Penn State, Devontae Walker, wide receiver North Carolina, TJ Tempa, uh, quarterback Ohio State, Rashid Ali, running back Marshall, Devon Larry, quarterback Kentucky, Nick Samak, center Michigan State, Sanusi Kane, safety in Purdue. So what I think to the Baltimore, last year they made it to the AFC champion. Their loss against the Chiefs will motivate them. It will motivate the Baltimore Ravens. Now they have a King Henry, Derrick Henry. I think Lamar doesn't need to run the ball. I think he can still run, but I think Lamar will probably got his best season. I don't know if he will go to the AFC. So I will keep it to the final, to the my final about the AFC Championship. Who's gonna go there? But I think the Baltimore Ravens could go far where Lamar Jackson is. It also would depend also on defense. Raekwon Smith, it will depend on him. So on the defensive side too, because the Baltimore Ravens, if you know this for a long time, run defense. And what the Baltimore have, run and defense. So they'll have a great season. I would say 11-7. That's my personal opinion, but it could change. I could change. They could prove me wrong. That's what I got to say. Finally, for the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who did drafted Troy Futanu, OG Washington, Zach Frazier, center West Virginia, Roman Wilson, wide receiver Michigan, Mason McCormick, OG South Dakota State, Logan Lee, DT Iowa, Ryan Watts, cornerback from Texas. What did I think for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Now that the Steelers have found who's going to start the QB, my question is Russell Wilson. Can Russell Wilson be the Seattle Seahawks, the version of the Seattle Seahawks what she was? Because I do not see him be that guy from the Seattle days. And I don't know because the roster are good. T.J. Washington, Cameron Hayward, uh, and offense Najee Harris, George Pickens. They have everything. My question is, can Russell Wilson be the Seattle Wilson when he won a Super Bowl? That's a question that everybody would want to ask. So, so I'll be patient to watch the Steelers, but for them, I'll give them 10-6. That's all I gotta say for them. For the Steelers, 10-6. Uh, we will take a little bit of break, and then we will talk about the AFC South. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Too Good to Be True podcast. I'm your host, Pascal Mayala. Now let's talk about the AFC South. One of the probably the weakest of the AFC, probably one of the most weakest. But let's down to it. So let's talk now. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguar. Uh, who they had drafted. So they drafted Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver LSU, Mason Smith DT LSU, Jarian Jones, cornerback Florida State, Javon Carter OT Missouri, Jordan Jefferson DT LSU, DeAndre Prince, cornerback Ole Miss, Killian Robinson, running back Texas, Cam Little, punt kicker Arkansas, and Miles Cole edge from Texas Tech. So I think for the uh Jaguar, for them, if they want to have a good season, they need Trevor Lawrence to ball out, to be like a MVP type of shit. Yes, I will curse a little, but I don't give a damn. We need the Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. They got all the pieces right now. Do you think they can win the AFC South? I do think. Maybe, 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 because I don't see over the Houston Texans, which we will talk about them later. I don't see against the Colts or against the Tennessee Titans, which did we could talk about later. But do I think that the do I think that Jacksonville could make the wild card? Yes. If they, I think for them, I would say 10-6 for them. 10-6 for the Jacksonville Jaguar. So next team we want to talk about is the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, who they drafted. So they drafted JC Latham OT Alabama, T Vondre Sweat DT Texas, Cedric Gay, a linebacker North Carolina, Jarvis Bowley Jr., cornerback Louisville, Jaquan Jackson, wide receiver Tulane, James Williams, safety Miami, and Jalen Harlow in Edge, Michigan. What do I think about them? They're in a rebuild. I mean they're on the rebuild. So there's no expectation. I know D Hop need to get out of Tennessee. I don't know about his contract situation, but they, I mean, he needed to get the hell out of here. So what do I think about them? So I've said that it will depend what Will Live is going to do in the second year. It would depend on them. So if I think they're going to make the playoff, no, they're not making the playoff. I think they can. They are 9-6, 98, 98 this season, or it could be the reverse. But they're not making the playoff for sure. Next team we want to talk about, sorry, is the Houston Texas. Oh boy, they did something. I think they did a fantastic offseason. So they drafted Kamari Lassiter, a cornerback from Georgia, Blake Fisher, OT Notre Dame, Caleb Bullock, safety USC, Cade Stover, tight end Ohio State, Jamal Hill, linebacker Oregon, Jahar Jordan, running back Louisville, Solomon Bart, edge USC, Marcus Harris, DT Auburn, Ladarius Henderson, OT Michigan. So what do I think about Houston, Texas? They're winning the AFC South. CJ Stroud, I think he's gonna bow out in the second season, but they're gonna win the AFC South. They're gonna go deeper, not that deep, but deep, because now they got Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to see Houston Texas play. So, if my prediction, I will go 13 to between 4 or 5, but 13-5. They're making the playoff. And finally, AFC Indianapolis Colts. The Colts right now, the Colts. So who did they draft? Laiatu Latu Edge UCLA, Adonis Mitchell wide receiver Texas, Matt Concalves OT Pittsburgh, Tenor Bortolini, center Wisconsin, Anthony Gould, wide receiver, Oregon State, Jalen Carlisle, safety, Missouri, Jalen System, safety, Auburn, Micah Abraham, quarterback, Marshall, John Johan Lalu, DT, Oklahoma. I know Anthony Richards back, Jonathan Taylor will still run, but there's some couple of pieces missing. And I don't think they're gonna make the playoff, but I think they're gonna fight to go to the wild card. Now that Anthony Richards back, I know his rookie season he was all out of the year. He was injured, but whatever the team go he goes, the team goes. So to me, they're not making the playoff. I think they could go 7-9, in my opinion. 7-9. Let's take this final break, and then we will talk about the AFC West. So be right back. Welcome back to the Too Good to Be True podcast. Uh, if you missed the what I said, everything about the AFC South, AFC North, AFC East, don't worry. You can listen to this on my YouTube channel or listen on my podcast on Spotify. and so on and so forth. Now the final thing, final conference. Uh, we will talk about the AFC West. Let's talk about the different Broncos. So the Denver Broncos drafted Bo Nix from QB from Oregon, Jahan Ellis, edge from Utah, Troy Franklin, wide receiver Oregon, Chris Brown, Keith Abram, cornerback from Missouri, Audric Eston, running back Notre Dame, Devon Vili, wide receiver Utah, and Nick Carglio, center for South Carolina. So, what do I think about the Broncos? They are in a rebuild. So, they are in a full rebuild. So, I'm not surprised they go into that direction. And also, they drafted the quarterback that Sean Payton wanted, Bo Nix. He got rid of Russell Wilson, got his QB Bo Nix. Let's roll. I know he's not gonna let out like everybody think he will in this a rookie year, but 3 or 4 5 year, I think he will be better. He will be great. So there's no expectation for the Broncos. They are in a rebuild. If you ask me where they're gonna sit, I think they could go six or between 6 or 7, 6, 7 to four, probably to 7-14. So that's my opinion about the Broncos. Next team, the LA Charger. Who did they draft? Joe Alt, OT, Notre Dame, Lad McConkey, wide receiver Georgia, Junior Colson, linebacker Michigan, Justin Justin Eboigbe, DT Alabama, Tarheeb Steele, cornerback Maryland, Cam Hart, quarterback Notre Dame, Kamini Vital, running back Troy, Brandon Rice, wide receiver USC, and Cornelius Johnson, wide receiver Michigan. So what do I think about the Chargers? Now that Jim Harbaugh is back in the NFL, coaching the LA Chargers, they will make the playoff. I will give them to 14-5, 4 or 5, but 14-5. They make it the playoff. Justin Herbert now have a coach that can groom him. He need a coach that can groom him, hold him accountable. They got rid of Brandon Staley. Good riddance. And now that John Harbaugh is back in the NFL, let's see what he's gonna do. So I said 14-5. So they're making the playoff. So I got no issue with it. Next team, the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champ. Actually, yeah, let's talk. Yeah, I just talk about the Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, the the defending Super Bowl champion. Who did they draft? Xavier Worthy, wide receiver Texas. Kingsley Saumatala, OT by BYU. Jerry Wiley, tight end TCU. Jaden Hick, Washington State. Hunter Nuzark, Penn State. Kamea Hayden, cornerback, Tennessee. CJ Henson, OG, offensive guard, Holy Cross. What did I think? What about the Chiefs? They finally got a receiver that can catch because last year they were horrible. They needed to rely on Travis Kelsey. I do I think they're gonna make the playoffs? Yes. I see 15-2. 15-2 for the Chiefs because I'm not counting out Patrick Mahomes. Andrew Reid is there. Travis Kelsey is there. Isaiah Pacheco will still run the crazy like in Madden. man, like in the new motherfucking Madden NFL. But uh, I think the Chiefs will make the playoff in this year. So I'm not counting Patrick Mahomes. And finally, the Oakland Raiders. Actually, the Las Vegas Raiders. I think about the Oakland Raiders when I was growing up. So who did they got? They got Brock Bowers, the tight end Georgia, Jackson Power Johnson, corner the center of the Oregon, Delmar Glaze, OT Maryland, Decamarion Richardson, cornerback Mississippi State, Tommy Henschenberg, linebacker Ohio State, Dylan Love, running back New Hampshire, Trey Taylor, safety Air Force. Did I say Dylan Love, running back New Hampshire? Yeah, I said that. And MJ Devon Schwartz, cornerback Pittsburgh. So what I think about the Raider? I know I heard the story that Gene Mitchell gonna start over Aiden McConnell. Um, it's a weird thing, but I understand why. I think they need to draft next year a quarterback. They need to draft a quarterback, a future quarterback that can light out the stadium because that stadium is so beautiful, unbelievable. But I don't know. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. They could probably fight for it. I see 10 and 8, 10-7, something 10-6 for the Raiders because I still believe the new coach Antonio Pierce. I mean, I still believe in in Antonio Pierce because the new head coach I think full right now, and I think they're gonna fight for the playoffs. So those are my prediction of the conferences. Now, who do I see in the AFC? It will depend how they'll ball out. So to me, I think Cincinnati personally will make the AFC. Who do I think he's gonna go against? I think he will go against, in my personal opinion, the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning defending champion. That's my prediction of the AFC Championship. And don't forget that if you want to follow me on social media, on any platform, I will give you later. But before that, before I leave, I will say this: that Friday I will do my NFC conference. So Friday I'll drop uh my NFC prediction. So if you want to follow me on social media on X, formerly Twitter, is Belly versus PMM, Pascal M Mayala. You'll find it. If you want to follow me on thread, it's Pascal underscore Mayala underscore 15. Same thing on Instagram, Pascal underscore Mayala underscore 15. If you want to listen to this podcast, you could listen to this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Castbox. If you don't want to see me visual, if you want to see me visual, you could go to my YouTube channel to go to be true podcast and do me a favor. Like, subscribe, leave your comment, and notify because you don't know what video I will release. So that being said, thank you very much. See you next time.